Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. Happy to welcome Pete Shoulder to the program today. Current vocalist for Silverthorne. I shouldn't say current vocalist, the vocalist. Current project Silverthorne, correct?
Yeah. Unless it's something I don't know about.
Yeah. Well, you know, the way you guys all jump in and out of bands nowadays, you never do know, right?
Yeah.
But really, that's what the industry kind of has come to, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. You know, you got these days to kind of make a living. You got to have your fingers in more than one pie, unfortunately. You know,
Yeah.
so you got to. But that's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you can't be, you know, Robert Plant and jump in Led Zeppelin and have a nice, you know, 10, 15-year run and a bunch of albums. You know, that doesn't exist. Do you think it's makes it better or worse, Pete? Is the variety nice, or would it be nice also just to be in one group for a while and make a living that way?
Well, I mean, you know, I do like the variety because it keeps, you know, it keeps me kind of on my toes, and you know, you learn new things all the time when you're playing with different musicians, which, you know, kind of makes you better as a musician, which is great, and I'm all for that. But yeah, sometimes it would be nice to be Robert Plant, you know, just, you know, have one thing, you know, but, you know, you've got to do what, you know, you've got to go with the times, haven't you? Roll with the punches.
Definitely. Well, the current project that we want to talk about is called Silverthorne. The EP, Tear the Sky Wide Open, came out February 21st on Golden Robot Records. You're actually the second member of this band I've chatted with. I talked to Brian a couple of months ago, which was a lot of fun. So it's going to be nice to get your perspective on it all.
Great.
Rave reviews to this EP and to the videos and to the songs and everything. It's got to be very rewarding for you.
Yeah, it's amazing, actually. I mean, I've never been involved. I've never put a record out before, which has had so many, where every review has been like, you know, amazing. You know, it's crazy. I mean, it's great. But yeah, there's, you know, every review has just been fantastic. You know, and we're getting loads of messages on social media from people saying, you know, how much the songs mean to people, and you know, and it's great. And it's taken us, you know, it's taken us a few years to get this off the ground. We kind of, you know, we recorded the songs, and then we had quite a few obstacles put in our way. You know, we had some management that didn't work out, so we had to put it on the back burner for a while. But we kind of never lost faith, really. We kept because we believed in it. You know, we thought we had something special, so we kept pushing, and then we finally got it out, and it's so good that it's, you know, it's really validating. It's great that people are liking it, you know, because it's like, yes, you know, we're so happy, you know. It's great.
There's such a hunger out there for music like this, and what I like about this, you know, you got 5 tracks on here. Some of these tracks you could slide easily into, you know, today's, whatever you would want to call it, modern rock radio, I guess. And then there's a track like Haunted by the Dawn that you could put on classic rock radio, and if nobody knew the difference, they would think it was a song from, you know, the 70s or so, which I think is amazing.
Well, that's great.
And I'm hearing...
You know,
go ahead, Pete. I'm sorry. I did what my daughter calls stepping on your words.
No. you carry on.
What I'm hearing, too, is with this EP is just sort of a tease, sort of a sampling. There's more to come?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're currently writing our first full album. So what basically with this EP, we'd written sort of like over an album's worth of material. So the kind of the hard thing was choosing what to leave off, really. So it was quite difficult to kind of boil it down to 5 songs. So we kind of got some help from the label, you know, because we some, you know, objective, like, you know, somebody giving us, because it's difficult when you're kind of really close to it, as we are, you know, it's to know what is good to put on, you know. Sometimes you're not the best judge of your own material. So, but I actually think we left some of the strongest songs off the EP. So we have those left over, and we're also kind of currently writing some more new songs. So we've got loads of songs, we've got loads of ideas and loads of material. So we're just waiting for this whole Corona thing to kind of blow over, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we can kind of finish the album.
Right. You got to do a couple of dates towards the end of the year. I think one in Vegas and one in LA where you played live. Of course, everything is on hold now. What was the reception just as good for the live dates as playing live as it was for the recording stuff as well?
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, we played 2 club shows. We played the Viper Room in LA and Count Vamped in Vegas, which both great venues. And yeah, it was really good. We had a bit of a disaster the night before the first show. I don't know if you heard, but Brian's studio house where we recorded the EP, basically there was a massive fire there the night before the first show.
Wow.
So so that was awful, and we were kind of dealing with that, sort of after midnight, until after midnight with the fire brigade and stuff, and then we had to the next morning we had to get up really early and go and kind of salvage what instruments were kind of left.
Wow.
and drive to Vegas. So it was the kind of, the circumstances weren't great for the first shows, but the shows went well.
Truly, the show must go on.
Yeah, we did it. So
I was doing a little bit of background. Now, you and Brian, of course, you were the Union. He was with Whitesnake. But then there was also something with a band. Is it called the DeLeo Brothers? DeLeo?
Yes, the DeLeo brothers from Stone Temple Pilots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you guys got together. Was that before the Union Whitesnake tour or after?
That was after. Was after. So I went on tour with the Union. We toured with Whitesnake in, I think it's maybe 2011, I think. And that was a UK tour. And Brian was playing drums at the time for Whitesnake. And we met very briefly, but we didn't, that was it really, because, we're both on different schedules.
Sure.
So, you didn't really hang out and stuff. And then, a couple of years after the Union broke up, I went and tried out I got asked to audition for Stone Temple Pilots because they were looking for a new singer.
Right.
So I went to LA and did that. And then I got a call a few weeks later from Dean and Robert DeLeo saying, well, listen, we've got this other project on the go where it's Dean and Robert and Brian Tishy on drums. We've recorded like 5 instrumental songs, but we've been looking for a singer. We haven't found one yet, but we think that you'd be perfect for it. So if we sent you some songs, would you have a listen to it and see what you think? So they sent me, and I said, yeah, of course. So they sent me it, and I really liked it, and I said, I'm in. So I kind of started writing lyrics and melodies to that, and then I went back to LA, and we basically made a record. It was kind of, that was what we were going to do, really. It was this new band, and then they Stone Temple Pilots started getting some offers in, and they were kind of like, I mean, I totally understand, if I was them, I would have made the same decision, and they said, listen, we're going to have to put this on ice for a little while, and we'll do this Stone Temple Pilots thing. And it's like, oh, that's cool. So we understood, but it was disappointing, but that's the way things go in this industry. So and then I was trying to figure out what to do next, and Brian called me a couple of weeks later and was like, what are you up to? What are you doing? And I was like, I'm just trying to figure out what to do. And he said, well, why don't you come back to LA and, let's just write some songs together. It'll be fun if nothing else. So I was like, I really got on with Brian, and we kind of, we had a lot of the same influences and kind of, cut from the same cloth musically. So it was like, yeah. So I stayed with him for a month, and we, like I say, we wrote over an album's worth of material, and then we sat back and listened to it all and was like, this is really good. This is really cool. And then we're like, well, let's keep pushing forward. Let's. So we got Daniel Spree in, and then called ourselves Silverthorne, and that was it.
Now, was Daniel someone that you had ever known before Silverthorne?
No. So Brian introduced me to Daniel. I think that they'd played gigs together in the past, and we were trying to think, well, who can we get in, to play a bass? And he was like, oh, I know this guy. I think he'd be perfect for it. So I brought Daniel in, and he's great.
Yeah. Let's delve into a couple of tracks from the EP. I mean, I literally could ask you a question about each one, but I'm gonna limit it to a few here. First one, the first video, Tear the Sky Wide Open. Love the guitar sound in that opening, that riff and stuff. What are you doing to get that sound?
For that one, in Brian's studio, he had this tiny little amp, which was it's basically a cigarette packet. A cigarette, and there's a tiny little speaker built into it. And we wanted, and you know, we were thinking, oh, we need like a really small, you know, terrible guitar sound to start off. So when the riff kicks in with the drums, it just goes huge, you know.
Yeah.
So I plugged into that, and then I put a wah-wah pedal on, kind of half-cocked, so it was, you know, kind of a bit like a trebly sound sort of thing.
Yeah.
And,
Kind of, sort of, you know, when I first heard it, not exactly, I don't want to say it was the sound, but it was just something you don't hear a lot. I can imagine being somebody who maybe heard the Kinks, You Really Got Me for the first time, you know, with that fuzz tone, you know? Was what it sort of brought, an image that brought to my head. So great tune. And that was a riff that you had, and Brian said, hang on to it, we're going to do something, and then it took you a while to work it out, though?
No, it was. I'd had that riff probably about 2 years previously. I kind of came up with it, and I think I tried to write a song over it, but nothing really wasn't exciting me, you know. So I kind of just put it on the back burner and forgot about it. And then me and Brian were kind of working on a song one day, and I don't think it was whatever it was we were working on wasn't really, you know, we weren't getting anywhere with it. So it was like, let's just, you know, start a brand new song, see what we can do. And then we were kind of thinking, right, what ideas do we have? And then I remembered that riff, and I played it to him. I said, well, what do you think of this? You know, I like this riff, but I've never kind of got any further with it. And he was like, oh, that's really good, I like that. And then he suggested just tuning it down a little bit, so it's kind of, it's you know, it's even lower and heavier sounding. And we spent about 3 days getting the whole song together. You know, it kind of took us a while to kind of nail it down. That was probably the longest we'd taken to write a song, I think. But yeah, it was worth it because, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. The next tune I got to talk to you about is Black River Rising. I latched on to Alice in Chains when they first came out, and when that song kicked in, and I'm watching the video, and you're sitting there in the chair, I'm like, my Lord, you know? It gave me chills. Reminded me a lot of Rooster, you know, that song of theirs.
Right.
The moodiness of it, the darkness of it. You know, amazing track. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Thank you. Oh, well, that's funny you should say that, because I mean we're both huge Alice in Chains fans.
Yeah.
And the actual video, the kind of idea for the video behind that was, the inspiration for it was the Down in a Hole video.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, that's what we that was our kind of template.
Yeah.
You know, so it's sort of kind of trippy and just the band walking around, you know, and cool looking surroundings and things.
Yeah.
So that was the, you know, because we're huge Alice in Chains fans. So yeah, that was the kind of premise of the video.
Yeah.
And the song kind of started off with, it was a riff that Brian had. He said, you know, what if we do this kind of stoner sort of trippy, you know, slow tempo blues thing. So he just had that riff and he played it. I was like, oh, that's really good. And then we were sat there for an hour with acoustic guitars, kind of going, well, where does it go after this? You know, so we were coming up with like different chord changes and choruses and bridges and middle eights and things like that. But none of it really was exciting us, and it wasn't really going anywhere. And then we would get back to playing that riff, and it was like, oh yeah, this is great, you know. So then we were like, well, the riff basically it's only on two chords the whole time. That the riff just kind of goes between two chords.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, what if we just make the whole song just two chords? And we're like, can you really do that? Can we do that? And I remember saying, well, you know, I've always been too scared to ever write a song with just two chords, so maybe that's reason enough to do it. Let's try it. So we just made it all about dynamics and, you know, sort of quiet, loud, you know, building up the intensity and things, and and just making it about the guitars and the vocals, really.
Yeah. I would say you take, you know, like Rooster and cross it with, familiar with the Mad Season album?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I love that album. Really
like the tune Wake Up, you know?
Yeah.
Cross those two, and you've got that. It is a fantastic piece of music.
Oh, cool.
Then I'm playing through, and I get down to the last track, Haunted by the Dawn comes on. And I'll tell you, Pete, I'm always hesitant to compare an artist's music to another artist, because I never know if I'm going to, like, piss them off or anything, you know?
Right.
I hope they always take it as a compliment, because I've never, ever, slagging anybody for doing this. That song kicked on, and I'm like, my God, Achilles' Last Stand.
Yeah.
Zeppelin.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I actually went, and I'm like, wait a minute, and I stopped the tune, and I queued up Achilles, and I'm like, all right, it's not exact, but it's darn similar. Was that one you had in mind when you were doing that, or it just happened to happen?
I mean, that was a riff that Brian had. He wrote that riff when he was in college.
Really?
Yeah, and he first said to me, he said, listen, I've got this kind of Achilles' Last Stand riff. I thought, all right, and he played it to me, and I thought, well, and I was like, I know what you're saying about Achilles, but it doesn't. It's not the same riff. It doesn't sound. It brings that to mind, but it's a different riff.
Yes.
Yeah. So I loved it straight away, and So but originally that song was like about 12 minutes long.
Really?
Yeah, we had all sorts. So we like threw everything with the kitchen sink at it. We had like monks chanting in the intro, which kind of lasted for like 3 minutes, and then we had like middle eights and bridges and 3 choruses, and and then we kind of like, oh, maybe we need to cut this down a little bit.
Yeah.
And we kind of got the essential parts in there, and and that seems to be. I actually think that's probably. Seems to be the most popular song with people at the minute. It
was my favorite track of the 5, and I'm saying anything bad about the other 4 either, but that was definitely my favorite of the 5. If I had to pick one, that would be it. And then as I'm reading some of the reviews and I'm looking at a lot of the comments, underneath the YouTube videos and everything, a lot of people are commenting your voice and the songs and everything, which are fantastic, and your voice is incredible. I don't think they were quite giving you due yet, though, on your guitar work, at least what I've seen. I thought your guitar work was stellar on this.
Oh, thank you.
Who influenced you along the way with that?
Well, I was very... When I started playing guitar when I was 11 years old, and I got into Nirvana was the first thing that made me pick up a guitar.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got into that, and then my dad sort of could see that I was really into music, so he introduced me to his record collection, which was late 60s, a lot of late 60s, early 70s British blues boom stuff. So Peter Green and Free, so Paul Kossoff, then obviously Led Zeppelin. So and then I got very into blues from that. Because of that, I kind of went and discovered the people that influenced them. So I kind of went back to Muddy Waters and things like that, and then I sort of was in a blues band for a while when I was a teenager, and I was just very into blues. So like Stevie Ray Vaughan was a huge influence, Gary Moore, Peter Green, like I said. So that was that. The kind of I was very into blues music, so that influenced my kind of lead playing. Yeah.
Now, it was your sister who actually had the Nirvana CD, right?
It was, yeah. So she's like 3 years older than me. And she would just be playing, and it was really weird because she's not really, she was very into pop music and kind of still is really. But like Nirvana was just one of those bands where everybody loves Nirvana.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was playing it all the time. And at first I was more interested in playing football outside, and I was like, she listened to, like, who's this hippie band she's listening to? And then I would hear it, and it was and then I kind of went to her one day. Can I borrow that for a bit? Can I get a copy of it? And she copied it onto a tape, onto a cassette for me.
Sure.
And I just got obsessed with it. It's like I want to do this. I want to be able to make those noises.
Yeah, I mean, when that album blew up, at the time I was DJing. I was what they call a mobile DJ. I was DJing weddings and parties and a lot of school dances. And it went from, Mariah Carey to where everybody wanted to hear Smells Like Teen Spirit, And you throw that on, and that opening little bit of guitar work would just send everybody into a frenzy. I mean, it was amazing to be a part of. Even in that capacity,
Yeah, amazing. I mean, even now you listen to that album, and it's still just like... It's funny, I saw an interview with... Noel Gallagher the other day, and he said something which I thought was really, really true. He said when he listens to that album, it still sounds like the future of rock and roll. Yeah. And I was like, it does. It still sounds so fresh.
It definitely stood the test. Now, how about vocally? Did you take vocal lessons? Were you like in a chorus or anything in school, or did this just something you felt? How'd you fall into singing?
I was sort of like I say, I started playing guitar when I was 11, and I had 2 friends who were brothers who lived right across the road from me, and you know, we were best friends, and their parents were both musicians. The dad played bass, and the mother played saxophone, and they were in bands and stuff. And we would kind of, you know, bond over music. You know, me and my two friends, and we were like, well, so let's start a band, you know. So Graham, the older one of the brother, he picked up his dad's bass, and then Adam, he went and bought like a bass drum and a snare drum and a hi-hat, and we kind of started playing. And pretty instantly, straight away, I sort of started writing songs for this band, really. You know, kind of, that was, you know, I came up with a lot of riffs, and, you know, I was songwriting really early, and we were like, well, let's get a singer. So, you know, so we were on the lookout for a singer, and and while we were doing that, while we were looking for a singer, it was their dad's 40th birthday, and he was like, oh, I'm having a party, why don't you play? It was like, oh, but we haven't got a singer yet, you know.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I've been writing these songs, and I've been writing the lyrics as well. So I was just kind of singing until we found a singer.
Yeah.
And then, like, this party was like 2 weeks away, and it was like, well, we haven't got a singer. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to do it, you know. And let's just do this gig. And so we did it. And then I remember being absolutely terrified. And yeah, and we never really found a singer after that. We kind of we were looking for it, and then from that party, we got asked to do another gig, and then from that on, we got asked to do another gig, and it kind of spiraled like that, snowballed like that, and then all of a sudden, I was just singing, really.
Yeah, very cool.
And I loved singing, but I was really kind of self-conscious. I didn't think I was really that good. I could sing in tune, but I didn't really think my voice was anything good, anything special or that good, really. And it wasn't until, I mean, I was quite young, but it wasn't until I was kind of about 16 where people started commenting on my voice and saying, oh, you know, you can sing. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and like I said, I loved it. So I kind of started taking it more seriously then.
Very cool. So going forward now with Silverthorne, of course, you know, touring has come to a standstill with this, with the coronavirus. And if there's one thing, you know, and I've talked to a lot of artists about this before too, with today's music world, you no longer have to be in a studio together to put music together. You know, you can be in the UK coming up with stuff. Brian can be here in California. Daniel can be wherever he is. You know, and with file sharing and emails and digital everything, you guys could practically produce a whole album together and not have to even be on the same continent.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, funny you should say that. One of the songs on the EP, "Roll Me Back Again," was pretty much done that way.
Really?
You know, we kind of wrote that over FaceTime. Me and Brian sat there with two acoustic guitars, and I was like, "I've got this riff," and then he was like, "Oh, well, I've got this riff," and we kind of, you know, sat there for half an hour and came up with an arrangement, and then he said, "Right, I'll put the drum track down here, and then I'll send it to you." So he did that, and he emailed it to me, and I put the guitars down in England, and then sent it back, and then we kind of wrote the song like that. And then when I was back in LA, I did the vocals, recorded the vocals over there. But yeah, you really don't have to. The only trouble with that is it takes a long time. Like it's better when you're in the same room together. It's quicker, you know, and you know, it's
right.
It's that's the only thing. But yeah, it's this coronavirus thing. I don't know. You know, we had some tour dates that we were kind of working on, which we've had to kind of postpone now, you know, so which is a bummer. But in the meantime, we are kind of sending ideas back and forth.
Is the new album pretty much in the can now, or are you still working on it?
Half of it is.
Okay.
I would say probably half of it is. Right. And then, so I'm just waiting hopefully for this to blow over so I can get back over there and kind of...
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, as good as this EP is, if you tell me what you told me earlier about you had stronger stuff waiting on the album, I'm real anxious to hear the album then, because the EP is great. You know, so very cool stuff. Pete, I always like to wind things up with just some fun questions. I'm hoping these are questions maybe you've never even been asked before. Sound good?
Yeah.
Would you rather have the power to be invisible or to read minds?
Christ. Invisible.
Invisible?
Yeah.
What is the last bit of music, other than anything Silverthorne related to, that you listen to?
I listened to a guy called Neil Casal.
I've heard name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, he was he's a huge influence of mine. He was a singer-songwriter, and he was in, the last thing he was in was the Chris Robinson Brotherhood band.
Okay.
He's just unfortunately he passed away last year. So I was listening to one of his albums.
I'll have to check that out. Favorite class in school?
Home time.
Home time?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do. I'd love to see. I really do. But I've never seen one. That's the thing. I'd like to believe in it, but I've never seen one.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time and eat one of your mom's home-cooked meals from your youth, what would you have her cook? It's really funny because when I was younger, she used to make like a roast dinner, and I never used to like it, but now I love it. So Yeah.
so probably that. Yeah.
It's like me with my mom's meatloaf. I hated it when I was a kid. Can't get enough of it now.
Yeah. Exactly.
First car you bought with your own money?
Never. I haven't got one. I can't drive.
Really? Okay. That's kind of easy then. All right.
Unless a toy car counts.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the one we always have the most fun with. If they were to make a movie of your life, what actor would you have play you in the movie? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh my God. Well, it's got to be Brad Pitt, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
He's not as good looking as me, but he can try.
Yeah. And just to get back to music, if a young person came up to you today and said, Mr. Shoulder, I really, I can play guitar, I can sing, I'd really like to get in a band, what advice would you give to him to be a good bandmate? What makes a great bandmate?
I'd say to always listen to your bandmates and kind of, not be too wrapped up in your own ego, and to realise that collaboration, pretty much, 99% of the time, if you're working with the right people, collaboration always has better results.
Absolutely. Sound advice. Been chatting with Pete Shoulder, lead vocalist, guitarist for the band Silverthorne. Their EP, Tear the Sky Wide Open, out now on Golden Robot Records, available everywhere. You can check out, you got 3 videos out on YouTube, Tear the Sky Wide Open, Black River Rising. You just did one for Movin'. I'm assuming with only 5 songs, you going to do any more, or is that going to be it for this one?
What videos, you mean?
Yeah, videos.
Yeah, maybe, because now the Haunted by the Dawn seems to be very popular. We're talking about maybe doing another one, but we're not really sure.
That would be fun.
But with this virus thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, best of luck to you and Brian and Daniel going forward with Silverthorne. Hopefully we all get over this soon and get back to normal. You guys can get back on tour, and I'm really looking forward to hearing that full length when that comes out, and get Silverthorne rolling again.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Thank you very much for your time, Pete.
Thanks, lads.
Bye-bye.
Bye.